The big problem with COVID-19 is not simply the damage the disease caused, the tragedy, the death, the illness, people's fear and insecurity around it. It's also the other damage now caused by the measures to deal with it. The measures of lockdown, the measures of containment, the measures of social distancing, all of it has a consequence, economic, social, on healthcare, on education, on many different dimensions of life. So what the Institute's concentrating on is how do we put all these different elements together and advise governments how to keep people as safe as possible, protect them as much as possible, but not simply in respect of COVID-19 itself, but in respect also of the collateral damage done by the disease. So we've been really focusing on three areas. The first is around exit strategies, particularly in the UK and other developed countries where we've published papers showing how we might exit and ease the lockdown. Secondly, of course, because of all the work we do in Africa with many different governments there, our teams have stayed in place, they're on the ground, they're working with the President and Prime Minister's teams in combating the crisis. And there what we're focused on is trying to give them realistic ways of containing COVID-19 without doing enormous damage to economies that depend often on informal working and where the food supply chains are a critical part of keeping people alive. And then thirdly, we're working on the global coordination picture, because one of the things that has been shocking, as I've said right from the very beginning, is the absence of global coordination. I think out of this, we have to look at the global architecture of governance again and ask whether it's really fit for purpose. I think it's hard to judge right now what the political impact of the disease is going to be, except that, as in every other walk of life, if the disease is having a huge impact economically, it will have a huge impact politically. And the question is, what is the politics that comes out of that? Now, there will be people wanting to move this to the far left. There will be people who want to retreat into the far right. One of the things we're going to be looking at, again, as an institute is how do we make sure that the politics that comes out of this crisis is politics that adheres to reason and to evidence. And we're going to keep this up all the way through.